Hey folks, this is Matt once again. Hope you have a happy Halloween. Wasn't sure if I was going to do anything for Halloween. Probably just want to sit back, take it easy. But hope you guys again have a safe and happy Halloween. And I wanted to review one more movie for Halloween season, and that is Body Parts. Now, I reviewed this film a long time ago. It was only about a 14-minute review. I wanted to give at least a little bit more in-depth review for this film because I think it deserves it. A medical miracle has become a murderous nightmare. Of course, this is from Paramount, which means there's nothing on it. It's written and directed. Well, did he write this? Let me double check. Yeah, he helped write it and he directed it. Eric Red. Now, if you don't know who Eric Red is, this is the same guy who wrote the original The Hitcher. He wrote Near Dark. He wrote Blue Steel, which is a Jamie Lee Curtis film. He wrote and directed Bad Moon, which is a werewolf film I enjoy with Michael Pare, which I reviewed. But I mean, again, it's from the writer of The Hitcher. Again, the good one with Rutger Hauer. And Near Dark, which is a decent vampire film. He also made a film with Roy Scheider called Cohen and Tate, which I haven't seen in a long while. But I know it's sort of a sad story about the director is that he was involved in a car accident that accidentally killed a few people. At one point, he tried to kill himself by slicing his own throat. He lived, but he didn't make another movie. I think that happened in like 2000. He had made a movie like a few years before. And so from then to 2008, he didn't make a movie until he made that movie 100 Feet, which I haven't seen, I've heard of. I believe Famke Johnson's in it, could be wrong. So a sad story. But Eric Red is a talented writer, and to me a talented director, because this is without a doubt Jeff Fahey's best work, in my opinion. Jeff Fahey, I like him as an actor. He was in Planet Terror, The Lawnmower Man. He's been in quite a few films, but this was always my favorite film that he was involved with. Definitely my favorite film that he starred in. I always forget that Frank Mancuso Jr. produced this, of course, who helped produce the Friday the 13th movies, the older ones. And I do hope one day Stream Factory or something get a deal with Paramount, because there's films like Stephen King's Graveyard Shift and this film, the original April Fool's Day, that I would love to see released, but Paramount a bunch of pair of pricks because they have these horror films that they do nothing with. And I think this is an underrated movie because no one really talked about Body Parts. Just like a 5 point something to 9 to be. I think that's way too low. And not only does it star Jeff Fahey, you have Brad Dourif in a supporting role. You have people like Paul Ben-Victor and Zakes Mokae, who's the bad guy in The Serpent and the Rainbow. And Zakes Mokae was in a lot of other films as well. And the idea is very interesting. Jeff Fahey plays a criminal psychologist. He's teaching classes. He's on the road one day. And he gets in a really bad car accident, and it's handled very well. It's not too it's not shaky cam. It's not edited so subpar that you can't understand what the fuck's going on. It's handled very well by the director. You understood the geography. Tire blows out. He stops. You think everything's okay. Then a truck behind him can't stop. Hits the back. Jeff Fahey's character flies through the windshield, and there's a certain impact that makes you feel like, ooh, shit, that must have hurt. Ooh, shit, that must have done some damage. You just feel the way it's directed and edited, you can feel the impact of the car accident. And just him being pushed straight out the windshield, and it doesn't look comical. It doesn't look goofy. It's like, ooh, shit. And then as a result of it, his arm is ripped off. I know there's a scene on YouTube, which this was cut down a bit because it would have been NC-17, which honestly, it could have been left in and still been an R. Because there's a scene on YouTube, which is a little extended scene of him on the ground after the accident. his arm's been torn off. You see the stump there, pretty much like here, and he looks on the road, and his arm's like right here, and kind of still nerves still moving, and then we see that the arm has gotten damaged from the road, cars on the road. But there's this medical procedure that will help him get a new arm. And in a way, this is sort of a Frankenstein story. Granted, it's not Jeff Fahey being a Frankenstein monster, but kind of in a way, but not really. I say kind of because it is grafting one body part onto him, and then there's that whole thing of, well, I'll get to that, but he gets the arm grafted on him by this female doctor. But after the arm's been grafted onto him, these weird nightmares start happening, and these weird things start happening. And at times it seems like he can't control his arm. Like his arm does something. He's like, what the hell is that about? And it's like changing his personality slowly, and giving him these nightmares. Without knowing it, without wanting to, he hits his kid. He's playing with his kid lands on a Ron, and he hits his kid, and then immediately he's like, oh my god, I'm sorry. He's choking out his wife in the middle of the night, and he's wondering what's going on. And I think Jeff Fahey pulled it off very well. He's an underrated actor. Again, I think this is his best performance, hands down. He really pulled it off here, really felt sorry for this guy. And it's pretty much a better version of that movie, The Hand, the Oliver Stone, and Michael Caine, which had a shitty ending. I saw like once a while ago. Just remember not being that great. I remember this being a lot better. Pretty much he has to figure out what's going on, and because he's criminal psychology, he still has to do his job, and he's talking to this inmate played by Paul Ben-Victor. For those who don't know, he played Mo on that ABC TV movie of the Three Stooges that I think Mel Gibson produced. I think it was on ABC, I could be wrong. But I know it was made for TV. He was also in Daredevil with Ben Affleck. He was the guy that Daredevil hit, and his back went onto the rails. Well, onto the thing, he went onto the subway tracks, and he got run over. And Paul Ben-Victor, he's been in a few other stuff if you look him up. But he's an inmate, and he realizes that there's a tattoo on Jeff Fahey's arm, which is the same tattoo he has. The guy even says only death row inmates get those. What the hell are you doing with it? And he takes his arm and gets fingerprints of his arm and realizes it's the arm of a killer. It's the arm of a psychopath. As the whole thing of where does evil lie? There's a lie in the mind. There's a lie in the flesh. It's like an arm with a mind of its own, which sounds like a stupid idea, but I thought it was handled very well, especially when the psychopath, who is thought to be dead, which he has like this gimp on his neck brace, this killer is going around getting his body parts back. Hence the title. You find out it's a killer who got his body parts taken off, his arms and legs, and right now he's sort of borrowing a new pair, and you're like, well, how could the killer do all this? Well, that's where you find out that the female doc is not all that she says that she is, that there's a reason for all this. I just thought it was an interesting idea. Like, it's an interesting take on the Frankenstein story, if you think about it. Unique take on the Frankenstein story. Sort of a modern medical take on it, which I thought very interesting. And it fits with the title, which I don't know, maybe the title and the cover turn people off. Because like Body Parts, what is this? Is it a softcore movie? Softcore porn? Is it a Skinamax movie? For those who don't know, that's like porn on Cinemax. So you call it, softcore, so you call it Skinamax. Is it a Skinamax movie? But no, it's... But for me, it works, but I guess other people are like, I don't know. And these people who have the other parts, like Brad Dourif has the other arm. There's another guy who has the guy's legs. And you definitely have some decent gory bits. Brad Dourif's character gets his arm yanked off and all practical. Jeff Fahey finds the guy and his legs have been ripped off. And again, that's another idea. This guy's collecting his own body parts so that the doctor can put them back on him again. And then you have some really interesting sequences that really amaze me to this day. For example, Zakes Mokae is a cop who thinks that Jeff Fahey did it. So he takes him into his car, his police car, and Jeff Fahey's in the passenger seat. And there's a sequence where the killer comes up beside him in another car, handcuffs Jeff Fahey's arm to his arm. So now Jeff Fahey's in this car on the passenger side, the killer's in this car on the driver's side, and there's a car chase with both of them handcuffed to each other. And granted, on one hand it's unrealistic, but on the other hand, I thought it was handled very well. It looked well done. It's original, it's unique, it's interesting, it's well choreographed. The driving sequences, is one of the more unique car chases that I've ever seen in a movie. And that's what I liked about this movie. It has some unique, clever ideas. Like, it's a car chase, but it's a car chase unlike anything I've seen before. That he's handcuffed to the killer, and he's trying to pull Jeff Fahey. Jeff Fahey's trying to pull back, and don't go too far to the left, so my arm gets ripped off. And I just thought it was a really interesting idea. And then get into the finale where Jeff Fahey has to not only deal with this killer, but also deal with this crazy bitch. Sees that the body parts of the guy got him. This image kind of does come into play because these body parts are just hanging from these tubes that are like keeping them fresh or alive or incubated or however you want to call it. And there's some shotgun fun at the end where the killer has a shotgun, Jeff Fahey has to get away from him, and Jeff Fahey uses the shotgun, just blows apart all of the body parts, find the killer. The killer gets a gray at the end, literally blows the killer's head off. Literally just blows his head off. And Jeff Fahey has a good last line of dialogue at the end, which I really enjoy and want to read a little bit. I think Eric Red did a good job on the script as well as the directing. And if those wondering, the killer's name is Charlie. And the lead guy's, Jeff Fahey's character, is Bill. And then the female doctor, her name is Dr. Webb. As I sit here today, the only survivor to Dr. Webb's experiments, I feel somewhat resigned. The questions I've been asking are quite simply beyond my reach. Where does evil live? Is evil in the flesh? If a tree falls in the forest and nobody's there to hear it, does it make a sound? Inquiring minds want to know, and life goes on. I do know that evil does not live in my arm because since Charlie has died, I've experienced none of the violent tendencies the arm initially manifested. I've adjusted and accepted the fact that I am the recipient of a miraculous new surgical technique. And to that end, I owe Dr. Webb and Charlie. The arm's mine now, Chuck. I want it. Fair and square. And again, Jeff Fahey, he pulled it off well. I remember another scene where he goes to the doctor after finding out that this belonged to a killer. He was never told that before. He's talking to that female doc. And she's like, but, this is a miracle. And we can't, I won't do it. And I wonder if that has the exact line of dialogue here. Are you insane? I've got serious problems, doctor. I hit my kid. I try to strangle my wife. I have nightmares every night. Look, it's okay, alright? The arm's fine. I don't want it. Just give it to somebody else. Just give me a hook or something. You do realize what my team and I accomplished with that arm of yours. Don't you realize that if a gun were put to my head, I wouldn't jeopardize the accomplishment that your surgery represents? And I'm not going to do the acting, because the acting sold it more than me. I'll skip to the part I like the most. You won't perform the operation on removing the arm? No, and I'll see you put in a mental institution before I let you undo what I've done. Let me be blunt, doctor, but why don't you go fuck yourself? Get the hell out of my office. Fuck you, all your bullshit. I want this fucking arm off. Again, Jeff Fahey did a lot better than I would, but I thought he pulled it off very well. I like that little bit of dialogue. And I think there's another one here. Let's see, I think there's another bit of dialogue that I liked. Where does evil dwell? Where does it live? Does it live in the soul? In the mind? Maybe it lives in the heart. Maybe it lives in the flesh. Look, Bill, you gotta stop torturing yourself. Lay off the medical, physical speculation. It's a waste of fucking time. You know what I'm saying? Maybe evil lives in the skin. I don't know. So, I mean, I'm not selling as great as they did on the film, but I think Jeff Fahey did a great job performance-wise. I think it's a very unique, interesting story. Very interesting take on the Frankenstein story, at least to me it is. That's how I view it. Good little bits of gore. It's definitely an R-rated film. The villain definitely gets his comeuppance. Some nasty after the fact. Did great performance by Jeff Fahey. You have Brad Dourif, who always does a capable job, even if it's in a supporting role. You have Zakes Mokae, again, the villain from The Serpent and the Rainbow. He does a good job as the police officer. I like the script. I like the directing by Eric Red. I guess it's based on a novel called Choice Cuts, which I've never seen at all. Eric Red and Norman Snyder worked on the script. It was two people. Give credit where credit's due. And overall, very unique car chase. Went at a quick pace. This film is less than 90 minutes. It's only 80-some minutes long. So it went at a quick enough pace. Really good performance by Jeff Fahey. Really interesting story. It's not the arm going around doing everything, giving you the middle finger like the hand in Evil Dead 2. This is taking itself more seriously, which maybe people got put off by that. But I thought it's a really good horror story that was told efficiently. Once again, well directed by Eric Red. Satisfying finale. Again, that car chase is a very unique and, dare I say, original. The score was fine. I don't really have any problems with the film, and I would love to see a special edition of this. I would love to hear Jeff Fahey's thoughts on the film, Eric Red's thoughts on the film. Yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts on it. I think this is a very underrated movie because no one ever talks about body parts, and this is why to be honest, when I got onto YouTube, it's fun doing rants on movies that I think suck. But I really love reviewing movies that I feel are underrated. That's why if you look on my channel, you'll find a lot of movies that not a lot of people talk about, but I enjoy talking about. I enjoy talking about films like Icon Piece with Dolph Lundgren, or Stephen King's Graveyard Shift, or Predator 2, or loads of other films that I feel are underrated. Because not many people are talking about them, or if they do, they're kind of throwing them under the bus or not giving them their due. And I like to give these movies their due. That's why a lot of times I also review movies more than once, like this, because, hell, if there's not going to be many reviews of films like Body Parts, I'll do it for them as many times as possible to get the word out. So yeah, I enjoyed this film. Never really understood the bad press it got. And yeah, I feel it's pretty underrated flick by parts. So that's just my thoughts on the flick. I believe it came out in 1991. Thanks for watching. Take care. Have a happy Halloween. And we will see you later. Bye-bye.